Well, hello, YouTube. It has been some time. I hope that all of you are doing well and that life has shown you more ups than downs. Things are going well for me. Thank you for asking. Let's jump into this. I have a few minutes that I can share with you today. And thank you for sharing your time with me. Misunderstandings thrives during the rare event of open communication. This happens for many reasons, previous experience being one. With experience, we have to consider perception and the path taken to comprehend what is perceived. Of course, even with all the outlandish crap stated or written, keeping the illusion of harmony is a cherished pastime. So it appears easier to frequently stay quiet until one feels they have no choice but to pronounce. This is not my habitual method of addressing my reality. This said, do not fret, I am not going to do the tried and true. That would be to select to claim a racial predisposition to corruption as the cause of diminished economic liberty or social justice. Nope, but we do have those within various groups who are willing to poison all of humanity with their ridiculous hatred in this manner. The right is producing a growing number of pundits, casual social commentators, and racial crusaders. Now, it appears fashionable to counter the reality of white privilege. This is not to say that every white person experiences white privilege, but this is not to say that white privilege does not exist. I think there's a reality that clearly shows that white privilege does exist. For further thoughts on this subject, I do have a video I composed regarding this topic long ago. However, despite the reality of this state, there happens to be a movement of white people who are declaring that there is a racial privilege that blacks have to express racial hatred. This is indeed not new, but it is picking up steam. Of course, these whites proclaim that whites, on average, openly condemn bigotry. This I have rarely experienced. Yet, many whites I have encountered participate in a culture which instills a sense of entitlement to authority and power over the rest of society. However, for those who are willing to speak truth to power, this does not insulate them. Therefore, some become insistent to behave like a bestower of the American dream. This can be rather troubling. No one needs whites to pander to blacks regarding their individual failures or to play the role of the great white hope. However, it would be great if they would condemn grossly underreported moral failures in their group. Unlike the fairy tales some whites select to believe, the world does not coddle us. Nor have I seen proof that whites on average are publicly crucified any quicker for going against rule of law. That is, compared to those who hold less political and economic power on average. The more I think about life, the more I realize how troubled we humans are. It is wonderful we have the ability to manifest all sorts of technological advancements. However, when closely observing our world, it is not so easy to penetrate through the smokescreen of disinformation and propaganda. You know, the path which prevents us from underlying motives and goals. I am surrounded by white men who are so lacking in interest as to cause mental weariness. People who regurgitate supposed valid research regarding the genetics of intelligence. These jokers believe there are gene studies which prove racial and ethnic differences in intelligence and character. They supposedly show anyone who is not white or Asian, especially the popularly noted blacks and browns, as supposedly deficient in both character and intelligence. Equally, I am surrounded by callous, short-sighted black men who remain totally unaware of the need for today's modern white racist to use supposed racial differences in IQ as a weapon against them. Therefore, they find no need to be well-versed in the social, political, and economic effects of schemes constructed to do them harm. So disoriented, they meekly buy into the claim that the sum of the environmental effects is not as potent as that of genetic factors. So mesmerized by popular culture that they do not see that kinship-based racialism is key to white nationalists. Because, you see, they are sure, white nationalists that is, they are sure it will sweep away the old institutions. Which means the path to unrealized dreams by racialists, such as author Wilmot Robertson, will be much easier to manifest. Yet among all the twisted bullshit, and there is a lot of bullshit occurring in America, we can see the popularity of certain guiding principles. I am speaking of those that fuels the idea of the state being an ethnocultural continuity. You gotta love those who affirm the notion that there is a correct racial composition for every community, and that we should design society to engineer that composition according to their values. Well, in addition, let's add to that love list those race-obsessed nationalists who refuse or are incapable of identifying with any other aspect of themselves other than their race. Yep, sparkle captures the interest of the weak, and sparkle can be presented in many different forms. This said, as I observe the blasé attitudes which abound around me. Let's shift gears, shall we? You see, certain black men are seduced by the stupidity of gender wars, materialism, etc. They spin their wheels as they waste time, all while more potent propaganda chips at the foundation of their reality. Brotherhood is a farce for these particular white miscreants, but let's get back to the black ones. There are always certain liberal blacks supporting bullshit, while some conservative blacks support equally destructive bullshit, but of a different flavor. What does exist among so many threats against humanity is a never-ending attempt to capture the institutions of political power, normally through banking, but there are other routes, of course. All while the song and dance of "it's not racial or class-driven" is preached. Yet, that is part of the reason why this tyranny, this global tyranny, occurs. You see, once the justification can be popularly charged and maintained in the collective consciousness of the sheep, a sociopathic wet dream can be materialized. One where the evolution of white racial consciousness trumps reason and moral justice, let's say. Oh, let's not even mention the fact that IQ appears, and I think has been proven, to be a very poor marker for success in individuals compared to other qualities like self-control, emotional intelligence, determination, and fortitude. Anyway, we have those with a theoretical axe to grind, ones who seek to maintain the status quo, and careers to further. Of course, these people either proclaim one has no right to question their authoritarian pronouncements, or they insist on foregoing acknowledging error when presented. Yet even with the likes of transhumanism, pushing blatant monopolistic business practices, wanton disregard for the environment, ignoring predatory socioeconomic structure realities, support of genetically modified foods, ignoring immigration upsets, promoting apathy regarding the ever-increasing presence of the militant police, etc., All of these things considered, all I continue to witness is the merry-go-round, mostly shifting the focus away from the issues and personalizing the debate. And for a special few that have personalized the debate in the past, know this. Individuals know that humans are primarily what they select to be, as it relates to social division and function. Throughout human history, societies have not been predominantly based around compassion. Irrational and rational fears have motivated many to function from an in-group loyalty home base. This does not have to be all that humans add up to be. I have no issue being loyal to a group that has my values. However, it is obvious this does not occur. Repeat, this does not necessarily occur due to a genetic crapshoot. Moral imperatives, indeed, are important to me. The majority of human history may be marked by conflict over resources, ownership of land, and so on, but this can be combated with logic, reason, and emotional maturity. It can transform into something more universal without it being a new world order. Just because something like tribalism has had a long presence does not mean it is more fundamental to the human being than any sense of the brotherhood of man. This would be especially true if humanity was in an adolescent state of development. Moral responsibility, justice, and integrity does not have to be a dubious destination. Exclusionary belief systems, again, are not solely founded based on genetic placement or assumed culture created or adopted by said group. By selecting not to grow beyond our skin, I suggest we defy our own best solution. One problem is certain humans, due to greed, fear, and other motivating factors, select to maintain this antiquated tribal system of interaction. There is no issue to have a close-knit cooperative based on culture, tradition, and race if one deems it necessary. However, members of that group should not externally advocate for hyper-individualism among other peoples while maintaining a tribal state. Do not think that group, the word group, automatically equates to tribal unit. Even a wolf who struts alone in the forest can voluntarily function in a group that shares his or her goals and values. It seems people just do not care. They don't think, they don't care, and so many people these days appear not to even feel. They just seem to be dead inside. Hence, maybe the popularity of zombie movies, I do not know. However, if they do care, that is, it appears to last only until the stream of popularity has evaporated. The spiritual de-evolution I witness, not to be linked to what some would consider Jewish, Christian, or Muslim civilization, appears to generate a gradual decline into an increasingly oppressive, mean, pornographic, and violent world. People appear not to care. If there is one thing I am absolutely convinced about, it is this. Humans are fed a diet of lies, worthless trivia, meaningless sex, and dysfunction. We are to be consumers first and foremost, producers for the feudal lords, debtors, and drones, but not human beings. But we can be encouraged to embrace our animal nature. How revealing. Of course, it goes much deeper than this. But let's wrap things up here, and I will leave you with this thought. Collectively, we support a system that acts relentlessly to deplete passions and still the voices of dissent. However, we do not have to fuel that reality. We can break away from that. We can construct healthy, meaningful interactions with other human beings, no matter what their culture or skin color is. But we have to get real with ourselves. And hell, many of us can't do that. So do not think I'm pushing this kumbaya shit on you. No, no, no. I understand the reality that we face. All I'm saying is we are capable of more in a positive light than what we give ourselves credit for. But we are so willing to see that which is negative and that which reinforces our fears. Thank you for listening.